Okay.
Test.
All
Oh, I
right.
hear you.
All
Hello?
right. I'm on mic 8.
Test.
Yeah, those aren't
I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna shut this thing down.
Mary, go
Yes. Hello, test.
Nope.
Test number 2. I'm mic 2.
She's mic 2.
But she's not.
Oh, really?
No, just tap straight on the mic like this.
Oh,
See.
that's not it.
Yeah, no, she's 3.
I'm 3.
Yeah. Tom, you do the same thing. You should be 8.
I'm 8.
See, at one time I was 8, but
I'm 8.
I don't know who does
think
that.
you are.
Somebody needs to.
Well, I see the. Hold on. Look.
I know, but when you talk into it, oh, you're muted.
Hey, when you unmute me, is she muted?
No, 4 is. But...
People need to quit touching buttons.
Oh,
Yes, that's correct. Including
you
you
are
know,
too.
Tom, I'm taking that so to heart that I put my computer away.
How are we gonna do distro watch? Does he have to look over
Oh.
his shoulder?
No, I've already picked. I know what distros I'll be talking about.
BSD.
I have it 3. Ubuntu Studio,
All right.
FreeBSD's release, and then Xtix had a release.
All right.
But I'm going to be bringing it up on my phone.
Oh, you know what? I need to make sure we have the right sound microphone. Mute, unmute. Settings. Camera. Oh, yeah, we got the right settings. Good. Test. All right. This is a test. All right. That sounds better. All right. Tom and Mary, test again.
Test again.
Test again.
Test again.
Test
All right.
again. And again. And again. And
yeah.
again. And again. Oh, I had my case splice talk too.
The first thing we're going to talk about is
Oh, no, your device isn't fully protected. McAfee. Is
Thanks,
updated.
McAfee.
Did you guys get the song, my suggested song? What'd you think of it?
I didn't listen to it. I did see the link, and I should probably click on it.
No, you don't have to. But I can assure you that you all will love it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
It's kind of hillbilly rock, kind of good toe tapping stuff.
We should mention under static and that.
It's not bulk and carnival music. Let's just say
not
that.
Vulcan
Right.
Carnival music.
No.
Test. All right.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. So we're going to get recording and streaming. Encoding and encoding. All right. I think we are ready to go, except for probably nobody knows how to find us. What is our live stream? What's our live stream link? It says we've been streaming for 7 minutes. I still don't know how to find us. Go live.
Sad but true. Now there's some fuzz in the background. I think it's because the audio is too loud. Or will you be able to filter that out?
Filter.
The filter on.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's easy.
Okay.
What people see? Why isn't it showing me? This is really annoying. Oh, that sound was probably from somebody's fan. That one? Yeah.
Was it mine?
It was the Windows computer.
It's the fan on your phone. Yeah, it's got Windows things happening.
Yeah, my new phone, this is my 32 gig one. Oh, Tony, the phone, this phone has 16 gig on it.
Hey,
All right.
did you find the stream?
think you
I
found-
may have.
I believe you found something there, some
No,
kind of
that's-
delay.
It's giving me all the options except for what's the actual link.
Have a sucker.
Stream options. Enable DVR. Cards. Basic info. Why isn't there a link for the basic info? How do I show people what my stream is?
Hey, gentlemen, do we want to order some mugs and have them available on our site?
We should probably just set up a whole thing of that stuff.
A little shop. Merch.
Oh, I found it.
'Cause, Joe and Linda, they'll make them for us.
Yep.
Yeah, here. Because I'm not an admin, I can pull it up
I found. Yeah.
and it gives me the link.
Well, I found it. If you right click on the video on the thing, it actually says grab video link. I'm like, oh,
Okay.
all right.
I'm watching me live.
Oh, is that why it says the house stream is going black and white? Yeah. It shows him moving the laptop.
Twice now.
All right.
All right, let's see. Yeah, Mary's like, let's get going.
Let's get going. I have my Captain Spaulding t-shirt on with the clown. You know who Captain Spaulding is? He's a character from a Rob Zombie movie,
Oh,
which I've never seen. I just like the clown.
wow, that's
Heavy
really loud.
typing.
We're on 212, right?
212.
That's our episode number.
Oh. I think so. We could be.
All right.
Why don't you can have us just record somebody saying all of them and then just splice out the right one if you want.
This is episode 212, 213, and 214. And I'll just create sound bites.
Yeah, just splice it out.
Yeah. All right. What else do we have?
Hey, what's our episode name?
Olaf.
OLF recap.
And happy birthday, KDE. It's its 20th birthday this past
Oh,
Thursday.
Huh?
A couple days,
Ah.
yeah, a couple days ago.
And we missed, I believe, the
Friday.
The GNU project just turned 33.
Wow.
So many birthdays.
Yeah. They happen every year.
Yes. Every year.
All right. Soundboard's not working today. Sorry, guys.
Your soundboard?
Yeah.
Well, what
So
if
we'll
I
have to
installed it on
pretend
here? Oh, okay.
How do I stop it? It doesn't.
Well, I hope that's all.
There, I think
there.
it did.
I played a sad song for the soundboard.
Oh, that's funny. Oh my God,
Uh,
that's funny.
All right. So I'm ready to go. Are you ready, Tom?
Yep.
All right. Welcome to the Sunday Morning Linux
Thanks.
Review.
You didn't ask me.
You told me earlier. I asked like 2 other times. I
All
couldn't,
right.
I couldn't
I'm ready.
remember if Tom
I'm
said he
ready.
was. All right. Welcome to the Sunday Morning Linux Review. This is episode 210.
OLF follow up Afterglow.
All right. This is Tony Bemis.
Mary Tomich?
And Tom Lawrence.
And it's been, what, 3 weeks since our last recording?
Yes. We had every intention of recording at OLF, Ohio Linux Fest. And time, I mean, there's so many things to do that time got away. And then I had to leave early on Sunday.
Yeah.
To what did I have to leave for? Oh yeah, Lions game.
That sport ball thing.
That's purple thing I watched. That's right. There's
Sorry,
another one
Tom, I
today.
took it away from you.
Did they win?
Yes, they did win. Yes, they did win.
All right.
I left at halftime because
Yay.
I found that that they either played good in the first half or the second half. So they played well in the first half. So I thought I'm
Let's
leaving
leave it
now.
at that. Like,
It's the end of the game for me.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, we've got a little bit of catching up to do. So, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what we did and saw at OLF. So, Tom, you can live vicariously through Tony and my narrative.
I was unable to make OLF because I was doing a few other things, including my daughter's homecoming photos. So,
Oh, how did
Yeah.
that turn out?
good.
Great.
I
She
saw
was
some of
excited.
them. They looked really nice.
Yeah.
I'll have to go into Facebook.
Yeah, that's where they got posted.
Sigh.
I was at OLF, when I saw you have them posted, And I was about to show the other guy. He's like, "This is why Tom's not here."
Yeah.
But it just didn't come up in conversation.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
sure
like,
they'll find it.
no, everyone
Homecoming.
forgot about me.
No, I
you
didn't.
came up many times. It's
Yeah.
just
I really wanted to make it, and it just
Oh,
wasn't.
you
in
would
the
have had a
cards for
great
me.
time.
Oh,
yeah.
I do. I
Because
love
they had the
Linux.
podcast table there.
Yes.
And everybody was hanging out there. It was wonderful. It was really great to get a chance to see folks again and renew friendships, and also to meet people that I know via Google Plus, but to actually meet them, and that's Joe Hecht and Linda.
Yeah,
Hecht.
they were
So,
really nice to meet.
yeah, really great people. And Joe does not look like his little avatar in Google Plus. I will say that. So I didn't realize it was
It
Joe. at
wasn't too
first.
far off. Yeah.
Well, he has a beard in that
Nice.
thing, and he didn't.
Oh,
Anyway, yeah. So that was my excuse for not recognizing him immediately. But yeah, and so they had a great collection of mugs at the table.
Yeah.
For the various podcasts.
They made 36 cases, and what each case had 24 mugs in it.
No, each case has 36 mugs in it.
But how many cases they had? Was it 36 and 36?
No, they didn't have 36 cases there, because that would be
They had a lot to give away.
that would be 400 mugs, but they didn't give 400 mugs away. I
You
don't
sure?
think.
Because
I'm
I
pretty
thought
sure.
they said they brought enough for every other person at OLF.
Well, 36
But-
cases would be 36 of those boxes, and each
Yeah.
one had. I didn't think they had that many.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I
that's
don't know.
not.
Anyway, they had a lot of mugs.
Yeah,
Anyway,
there we go.
So we brought one for Tom, and so we
That's
got
right.
SMLR mugs.
Yes.
Yeah, very very classy looking too.
Yep, and they had ones for all the other
Hacker
podcasts.
Public Radio,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then some of the podcasts that Joe does.
Yep, and the Podnuts. There
Yeah.
was
Podnuts, yeah.
mugs for them, and
Mhm.
yeah, they were all strewn out across the table, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, supporting heavy coffee
It was
drinking.
really nice. Right.
So, but that was good. So as far as Tony, as far as favorite presentations besides your own.
I was gonna say, well, I'm a little biased now. There's actually there was a talk on troubleshooting with open source tools, which was
Mhm.
really nice. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. And it was a guy that worked for IBM, and he says a lot of times when he goes into a data center that's not theirs, it's a customer data center,
Mhm.
he has to bring in a machine to do, a laptop to do testing, and the clients always wanted to have admin access to it to be able to scan it, make sure
Yeah.
they're not sending out data that they shouldn't or have viruses on it. So he says what he did, he put together an image of a laptop, a Linux distro that has all these tools on it that he uses, and they can scan it all they want, and they're not
Mhm.
going to get anything that's IBM proprietary or anything like that, and it's not going to send out that he knows what's on it and what it's doing.
Yeah.
So it was really nice tools.
Well, it allows them to be really transparent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because that's what we want. You go in a data center, you want to make sure that you're not bringing anything unusual in there, and which is very valid.
Exactly. And then some of the really high security required them to make sure he deleted any data or not taking anything out with him, so he
Mhm.
could prove to them that he just wipes the entire machine, and then they know he's not taking anything away.
Mhm.
So that was really nice.
Yeah.
What was your favorite, Mary?
Well, mine, I enjoyed the sysadmin, BSD, free BSD sysadmin, or the BSD sysadmin,
Yeah.
which unfortunately was just opposite yours.
Right.
There, yeah, and recently PCBSD changed its name to TrueOS,
Mhm.
which and I asked them about that because I was a little disappointed, because I think the BSD name is not in it, so people, if you don't know, it's going to sound like another Linux distro, but they felt it was warranted because there had been a significant number of changes to it. So
Hmm.
anyway, so that's why they also talked a little bit. I believe I want to say it's SysADM, which is a system admin tool that is part of TrueOS. Previously in PCBSD, there were a number of tools. I mean, it was a very tool rich desktop distro. Well, I'll call it a distro, but a BSD distro. And what they did then is they kind of brought those together in a more cohesive fashion, or a more integrated fashion. So they renamed it So, again, that's another reason why PCBSD became TrueOS. And of course, that project also has the TrueOS server. So they've got a desktop and a server version, and that's how that all worked. So I did like that. I think I did get in at the very end and catch your talk, and
Yeah.
I was amazed
Yeah, there was a lot of
that
people
everybody
in
was
my
still
talk.
there
I
at
was
the end.
surprised. Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, it was good. It was, I mean, I didn't catch the whole thing. I think I caught the last 10 minutes, something like that of it.
Okay.
And you probably didn't notice that. You probably thought I was there the whole time, didn't you?
I saw you at the end.
Okay,
I
I know.
I didn't see you walk in, so I didn't know
Yeah,
what
I
time you got
snuck in.
but yeah.
There's that kind of thing where you kind of sneak in and you think, oh, they saw me here, so they may think I was here the whole time.
Right.
But no, unfortunately, I wanted to see that, but I know that your talk is available on, I think, isn't it YouTube or something from
Yeah.
previously?
Yeah, the previous one I did was
So,
on YouTube, and
mhm.
the difference though is I got the Android Rat, or the remote access Trojan, working.
Okay.
Where at the mug meeting I didn't have it working. So
Mhm.
I was able to demonstrate that, and I spent most of the time, probably 20 to 30 minutes of my talk was demonstrating that and what all you can do about it.
I was going to ask
It
you
was,
whether you were able, because I know that was one of, not a concern, but you wanted to make sure as far as your pre-planning that you had that set up and going so you could start easily. Because I think
yeah,
did you follow Kevin O'Brien?
I did.
Kevin, yeah, I was in Kevin's talk, and that was a good talk. It was about password managers and
Yep, password managers, and he touched
mhm,
on a lot of LastPass stuff.
mhm.
It was
So that was an
nice.
informative talk also. So
Yeah,
just a lot of good stuff there.
right. And it was nice that I could sit down during his talk and prepare for mine. So when it was time to go, I was just ready to go.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah, that's true. That's
yeah.
very, very convenient.
The downfall is I couldn't get my wireless router connected to the Wi-Fi there, or the guest internet. So I had to disconnect or to start the presentation. I had to connect to the OLF Wi-Fi,
Mhm.
get it going, and whatever I had to do on the internet there. And then when it was time to demonstrate some of the scans and stuff, I had to then connect to my Wi-Fi router. But it actually worked really well. It was pretty
Good.
seamless.
Oh,
I
good.
was worried about my phone disconnecting because it wouldn't see an internet connection on the Wi-Fi. But they must. I turned that off somewhere and didn't realize it did it, but it never disconnected.
Okay.
And for that Android Rat to work, it has to be connected to the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So that worked out really good.
It worked out well. Worked out well. And the other thing I sat in on, and I liked it because I got some really cool swag at the end, was Oracle's K-Splice talk.
Yeah.
And one thing I didn't, well, first of all, K-Splice, apparently, and it's really not something I've delved into, but it's a way, you're probably already aware of this, but it's just a way to keep to be able to apply critical patches and not have to reboot the kernel.
Yeah.
Because you apparently, as the name implies, you splice them in.
Yeah, go ahead.
But anyway, it was kind of interesting because it was kind of like an open source project at its inception, and then I think about 4 or 5 years ago, Oracle. Now I'm trying not to be mean because I did get these really nifty set of headset from it with a case and everything. But they purchased K-Splice, the company or the project, and then of course what happens then is that it slowly kind of is subsumed into Oracle, and so that's what the presentation was about. Was just about the features and kind of what they've brought to the party with K-Splice and how great it is.
Yeah,
so.
I was just about to say something like that too, because I remember interviewing one of the ladies, like the first year we were doing the podcast, so it was probably 4 years ago, and it was still an open source project at that point, where Red Hat was integrating it in, and
it's still open source, but
Oracle's version, because they're Oracle Linux. See, they've really integrated it in with Oracle Linux, and they had this version, I think, where you could get 30 days if you use Red Hat. You had this 30 days free use of it, and then that ended, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to take Red Hat customers and convert them to Oracle customers.
Yes, they want to license everybody.
That's right. So anyway, but that so that was I mean, and that little presentation was done booth side. I mean, it wasn't in a room or anything. So
Mhm.
you know, as that presentation continued, the number of people that attended it just kind of grew and grew.
Yeah.
So
I saw people going around over there, and I tried to see what it was, but I was sitting out having some coffee. So
in your mug,
And-
in your SMLR mug.
no, actually not.
Oh, okay.
But, I should have went over there to get some of those
Mhm.
headphones, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I saw him started handing them out, and so I didn't want to like jump over and go, "Hey, can I have some?"
Yeah.
know,
Well, no, I know you
I
have,
didn't
you have to be
wanna
kind
be
of
one of
subtle
those
about that.
guys.
Yeah. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that was yeah. So those are the big things from the convention that I really
Right.
enjoyed.
Well, you know, the other good thing about OLF is it's what they call it, the hallway track. Is just seeing everybody that I've seen there for the last 5 years.
Oh yeah.
Meeting new people, and just standing around talking. And you know, I missed 1 or 2 talks because it was
Mhm.
more interesting to be outside talking to everybody else.
Yes.
Than going in and
That's
seeing
like the big
whatever's
thing with the
running.
conventions. It's not just I can just watch them on YouTube if that's all that mattered, but that's not what matters. It's that person to person interaction you get.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
Yep.
and the other podcasters, you know, sitting around, and there's no competition between us. It's just we're all buddies hanging out.
Yep.
You know, and
I know
and
that was
sitting
really
down.
great. It's just unfortunate that we all live so far apart that we can't do that more frequently.
Yeah, but hanging
So-
out, you know, with Door to Door Geek and
Richard Hughes.
yeah, John Newstetter,
yep.
Joel McLaughlin came
Yep,
showed
he
up.
did.
He wasn't
Yep.
there for long on Saturday, but he was there for a little bit.
Yep.
Like we said, Joe Heck. There's
Yep.
a few people I know I'm missing. 5150 was there.
Yep, he was there.
Oh, he's always
Definitely.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, and then, you know, hanging out at the bars afterwards and stuff. That's a lot of fun with
Yeah.
everybody. So
Yeah.
yeah, I had one too many beers, but we're not going to talk about that.
No, we won't. Oh, you know, and the other thing I did too is I stopped by the free BSD table, and I am going to get involved in some capacity with that project,
Nice.
mainly in documentation or something related to that,
Yeah,
because that's where my skills are, and I want to contribute. So.
I think that'd be really good.
Yeah, so I've got Drew Levine's contact info, and I'm going to send her an email this next week and just find out what the next steps are.
Yeah, it'd be really good to hear, you know, firsthand of what
Mhm.
your process of going through and joining a project like that,
Yeah.
even and not being a programmer and joining into
Mhm.
a you know an open source project. I'd really like to hear as
Yeah.
that goes.
I think that that probably warrants coverage as a Fresh Looks episode
Yeah.
down the road a little bit. Once I get in there and they deem me suitable.
I'm sure they will.
So
All right.
anyway, all right. So okay, well I guess have we got OLF completely covered? Tom,
think
do you
so.
Tom, do you have any questions?
No? Well, don't worry. I was still working on Linux projects while you were gone.
I'm sure you
Oh.
were.
Yeah.
What did you do the last couple weeks?
RetroPie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that all set up, configured the latest version on first I did it more than one.
Mhm.
I started with the GitHub repository and loaded it on Ubuntu 16.04 and
Okay.
played with it from there and said, okay, this is fun. And then I went and bought a Raspberry Pi
Okay.
and set it up the RetroPie, set up the controllers, the games, lots
Yeah.
of customizations, and now thousands of games are on there.
Awesome.
I bought a 128 gig card just to fill it up.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
I have 700 Atari games on there, 800 or so Nintendo games,
Yeah.
another 1100 SNES games. Today's project is copying over more N64 PSX games.
Mm,
Like the entire card's going to be full when I'm done.
that's awesome.
It's hooked up to my TV with some controllers, and
You know,
my kids were going nuts over it.
that is really awesome. But you know what the downfall is?
Hmm.
How do you find the game you want?
Yeah, there's so many.
There's one. No, I did one RetroPie, similar RetroPie. It's called LAC.
Let
Lecking.
me insert a quick question here. So you've got all these games. Are they just if you go into it, they're just listed as files?
Yep.
So can you maybe start the laborious process of appending a prefix or something like that to kind of put them in a category?
Mostly you just memorize them. So here's the fun part. So Adventure was one of those games I played
Mhm.
back in 83 or 84 on Atari that was
Mhm.
just like, to me, a cool game. And it was actually one of the first games ever to have an Easter egg in it.
Mm.
But besides that, It's funny because they have the maps. You remember playing Adventure at all? You've
Mm-mm.
got a maze you got to go through. So I haven't played the game in 30
Okay.
something years, 33 years, and I did the maze on the first one. I was like, sweet.
All right.
Hey, the interface that you've got before you go into the game itself, is it kind of a
It's beautiful.
graphical? Is it a graphical
It's
interface?
beautiful. It's not
Mm.
just graphical.
Can
They
you
did a nice
Can
job.
you tag
Yep.
files?
Yes.
So maybe that's how you
Yeah, you can
create
pick
your...
all that. You
Well,
can
it's
meta
separated out per
console system.
console system.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But still, if you have 200 NES games and you want to get to game 150, you have to hit down,
Yeah.
down.
Well,
down,
you
down,
can
down,
also
down.
hit a button and start with the first letter. So it's got all kinds of like GUI interface
okay.
options to let you jump between them.
Okay.
They have album artwork, or not albums, but cover artwork for each of the games. So they make it really
Okay.
easy to visually navigate it. You're not just reading names; you can see the box art and everything for that
Nice.
game. So it's beautiful. It's such a nicely
Yeah.
well done project.
Wow.
I'll have to revisit that.
So can you come over and set one up at my house?
Yes, you can just be in retro game heaven for like ever.
Oh, I
Awesome.
have to get out and exercise. That would not be good for me.
Yeah, so that was one big project, and the other thing I was involved in was I was behind the scenes media for TEDx Detroit. That event went off really well. I did
Oh, cool. What were the topics, or too many to name?
too many to name, but
Okay.
a
What
couple
stuck
of
out? What
what
which one
really
stuck out?
stuck out was Draplin Design. If you haven't seen that guy, just type in Draplin in YouTube. He is so I met him backstage.
DR.
APLIN.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy's larger than life and just so much fun to be around. So anyways, I'm backstage and you got this guy in a those trucker hats with the plastic backs on them. It just says Draplin across the top of his hat. He's wearing a hat. He's got this big scruffy beard. He's kind
So
of
it's kind of that webbing in the back, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and then that polyester in the
yeah,
front.
polyester in front, like the cheap hat, right? And he's smiling. He just looks like someone you want to go talk to. He's got this big gray beard, and it's all like he's not polished at all, right? It's just old jean jacket on and shorts and shoes, and you're like, this guy's going up on stage, cool. He's whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And but he even makes jokes like, I'm not qualified to be here. I got no degrees in design. He goes, but I'm going to tell you, this guy has done design for like including some of the Obama team stuff. Some of the guy's an amazing designer and amazing public speaker, and his talk was absolutely, you couldn't stop the crowd from laughing because he adds so much humor to the design work he did and how he got in life where he's at. And
Wow.
so his talk really stood out. You have the usual tech stuff, which maybe not stand out, but the self-driving cars, some of the drone stuff, some of the really interesting work they're doing with ultrasounds to cure cancer. They found out that they can not only see cancer with ultrasound, that they can pinpoint it. And then because it will go through layers of tissue, they are now taking and zapping cancer cells with an ultrasound unit.
Really?
So one part watches, another pulse actually pinpoints and can pinpoint those cells. And they had that
Wow.
technology in demo. I seen the Wind Energy system.
Much better than chemo.
Yeah, because it's actually getting rid of it, and they can go
Pinpoint,
through
mhm.
non-invasive because it doesn't open you
Yeah.
up. Then I seen a Wind Energy system like I'd never seen before.
A
That uses
wind energy?
system that uses water across two different arrays and creates electrostatic charges. So you have to put electricity in, and when the wind blows across the array, more energy comes out than goes in. It was a proposed theory in the 60s, and no one can make it work. And this lady now made it work.
Really?
So that was cool.
Has
to
it
see.
been proven?
Oh yeah. That's the thing.
Okay.
She actually has the whole.
Because I remember, don't you remember about 20 years ago? Maybe not that far back, but these guys out in Utah had said they had finally
Yes.
created fusion, and it turned out
Exactly.
not quite to be that way.
This is because it actually does require the wind to make it work. So there is
You're kidding me.
Yeah, there is actually a force externally, so we don't violate the laws of thermodynamics.
Okay. Well, it should be working very well during this political season with all the hot air
all
going
the hot air
on.
going around.
Huh. Well,
So
that's
was good.
amazing.
Yeah,
That
so it was
is
a lot of
amazing.
good talks. And then of course the behind the scenes, being with all those fun people,
Mhm.
backstage recording, it was just a lot of fun. And I'm going to be releasing a whole video I did on it, including flying my drone around inside the Fox Theater, which you're not really supposed to do, but it was kind of cool. I got the shot.
That's cool.
So yeah, I had a lot of fun with it.
How big is your drone? I mean, as far as across, is it about a foot?
2 feet.
Oh, 2 feet.
About
Also,
two, well, maybe long.
Well,
If you went from blade to
Were
blade,
you-
it might be 2.5
so
feet.
the whirring noise that it was creating, was
You
that...
can hear it when it's 200 feet above your head. So let's just say this thing's loud.
Okay.
What one do you have?
DJI Phantom 4.
Oh,
Yeah, I've been flying it around a lot. We got some projects we're doing with it. We just did a flyover. We're building a big site-to-site wireless system at a chemical plant, and the expense of burying cables across parking lots is not rational. And the buildings are spread across 3 acres. So we put in a whole site-to-site wireless system. But to help add impact to the video, I droned over where my guys were climbing up on these towers and putting up all the site-to-site wireless. That's how we connect all the buildings and the chemical sensors and the camera systems.
nice.
The previous
Excellent.
solution was VPNs, and they used to pay for Comcast because it just covers 3 addresses.
Sure.
So they had 3 different Comcast installs at each
Wow.
building.
Huh.
And
Wow.
it didn't provide connectivity for the in between.
Sounds like they're saving
buildings.
money.
Oh, they're saving. They are so happy not to pay all that Comcast money.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, I'm going to be documenting that project. But we also, it's used to have a drone, flew over the drone and be part of the video.
Sure.
But the drone actually, I zoom into where the wireless units are, and I fly the drone to the next wireless unit, and it kind of gives you a feel of it's not just here and here,
point to point. Yeah.
point to point. I zoom across with the
Mhm.
drone, and I fast forward the video, and like, oh yeah, we had it here, and it's to here, and I kind of show the wireless connection. So we've been getting into these site-to-site wireless systems. The prices, it'll blow your mind. You can buy a 10-kilometer site-to-site system. What do you think that would cost
Really?
you? That'll do about 150 megabit.
10 grand.
Nope. $89 for each
I was just
unit.
going to say $100.
$89
Holy cow.
each unit, and it has up to. I haven't
Wow.
tried the range. I mean, we're only doing across several hundred feet. It's a couple acres across that we're doing. So there's only several hundred feet between each unit. But I was blown away when you can buy these for only that. They're incredible. I mean, it's only 100 meg circuit,
Yeah.
but still, the fact that I can transmit 100 meg.
Reasonable.
Yeah, it's just sensor data and some VoIP phones. They have 2 VoIP phones in the warehouse, and that's what goes across there.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So 100 megabit is more than adequate for that, and site-to-site units. Yeah,
That's
they're pretty cool. Yeah, every time you stop by my office, Tony, you got to check these things out. We've
Yeah.
been buying more and more of them because, well, they're affordable.
Mhm.
So,
I just got a text that the Detroit Windsor Tunnel is closed.
Uh-oh.
Marathon.
oh,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, that was my.
As close
that was-
as I'll get to it.
that's all the fun stuff I did
that's
while you guys
cool.
were having a great time at OLF.
Well, it sounds like you were having just as much fun.
Well, I did have some
And,
fun.
on some level. Well, I've got to look up that that guy you mentioned. I'll look that up.
He's a really cool designer. He also did a lot of work for Bernie, and you got his talk about
The
Bernie.
socialist guy?
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
It is so hysterical. Some of the stuff the
Uh-huh.
guy did. He's very emotional too.
Okay.
Which makes him that much more fun to talk to.
Yeah.
Like when you meet him and everything, he just admits, he goes, I met this guy, and he goes, Obama went to shake my hand and he touched my shoulder and I cried. He's
Oh
doing
my
that on
God.
stage. He's so funny.
Oh
Jeez.
my goodness.
He wasn't really political about things, but he just
Mhm.
talks about all the people he met, all the places. He's
Yeah.
traveled the world. He spoke at all these conferences around the world about
Yeah.
design.
Okay.
And then he starts with a joke like, I'm wearing $8 pants from Target, just so you guys know.
All right.
All
That's cool.
right.
All right. That was my time. So
All right.
Thank you, Tom.
Next up we have is listener feedback.
oh
And I was trying to go through to see what we've had in the last couple of weeks, but with OLF and everything,
yeah, I
I
don't
don't know if I dropped off, missed somebody.
think we had that much.
You know what?
Yes.
We got an email from Michael Lucas. He's that an author for,
Yes.
and
Hey, Michael was at OLF.
he was at OLF.
Yeah,
Well,
he-
we got an
he's-
email from him just before OLF saying, "Hey, if you guys are going to be here, I have my new Pam book out."
Yes.
So I went by and saw him and picked up the book. And in my infinite amount of time, free time, I'm going to read through it and make some notes, and we'll talk about it.
Good, because he gave me his other book that came out a few months ago, and I'm kind of in the middle of it, but I had so many other things going on, I haven't finished it yet.
All
And
right.
maybe we can have the book review episode,
Yeah.
Yeah.
fresh looks at books.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Fresh looks at books.
it'll be
Yeah.
the Michael W. Lucas episode,
All right.
so he'll appreciate that.
Yeah. What else do we have? Ken Cotton. I think we had talked to him a little bit about him before. Oh, and he's a listener. He's been listening for a long time. We saw him at OLF,
Mm-hmm.
and he actually lives over, I think, in Japan.
Oh, yes.
so that was really nice to sit down and talk to him.
Okay. I didn't
Oh.
realize that was his last name.
Yeah, he came to OLF because I guess later in the week he was going to another conference that his work was paying for, so he was able to fly
So
over.
he
Oh,
came in a little
bonus.
bit early. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
Yeah.
they
take
come into
advantage of that.
Japan from Japan to OLF's pretty awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was really neat talking to him.
Mhm.
And he does work with a router manufacturer
Okay.
over there, some in Taiwan, I think. And he's working on making them more open and be able to install like DDWRT and alternative firmwares.
That's
And
very good.
so yeah, he's
I have
doing
that as a news topic too. There's some
Oh.
more news in that topic. So
all right. He's doing really good work with that stuff.
that's,
so
you know
it was
what, we
nice
need
seeing
more
him.
of it because
Mhm.
that's only becoming more and more. We're concerned of what's in these routers,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
and the fact that they aren't updating security patches in them too. So it's not just the fact that we're worried about what's in them, that they drop support and don't update.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Exactly.
We had another email from, I think it was Jordan, and he was saying he was having a hard time downloading one of the episodes.
Yeah, that was. I don't know if that's feedback or complaint, but it's a valid complaint, and we fixed it. I think Tony
Yeah.
fixed my typo.
Yeah, there was a typo, and really what it was, you just pasted it twice on accident.
Oh,
So it was like twice as long, and it wasn't a valid URL. So I
Got it.
just backed off the first half, and then
Okay.
it worked.
I wasn't sure what I did. I seen Tony said I fixed it, and I'm like, I should ask Tony what I did wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, let's see what
So,
else.
all right. Yeah, the other
Um,
stuff I see was just updates and notes.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's about it.
I think so.
All right. Yeah, Mary doesn't have her laptop this time. Why is that
I'm
again,
doing
Mary?
She's
I'm
taking
doing
our
my
word for
whole.
it.
I'm doing my whole thing from memory. I
Remember
don't
that stuff.
have gigs of RAM in there.
Yeah.
No, for some reason, I don't know if my laptop is finally going on the fritz, the wireless, but it was going up, going down, going up, going down, and
Mhm.
so I couldn't maintain a wireless link, and then it was just caught in a loop. So I think what I'm going to do is probably just wipe it out, and then reinstall GhostBSD and try it again.
All right.
So we'll see if that works. You know what I'll probably do is I will
should
just
just
put a
put-
network cable and
you
then
should-
just
You should just put Linux Mint on there.
no.
It just works.
It just
I'm going to
works.
put well that now in an upcoming episode of FreshBooks, I'm going to take a look at Linux Mint as I migrate from Kubuntu to Linux Mint.
Mm,
So
all
I've
right.
been a Kubuntu user for over 10 years, and I'm going to move.
And we Mint KDE.
Yeah,
And I really wanted to love Kubuntu. It just kaput on me too many times.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and give that a try, and then I'll talk about the experience
All
because
right.
I don't migrate. I'm not a distro hopper. I
You know
don't
what-
migrate.
You know what people's
much.
largest complaint about Mint is right now? Is that because they're running no, it's
Yeah.
because they're following the LTS releases.
Oh,
Is that things don't get updated fast enough. There might be a package here or there that needs a newer version of a library that it doesn't support.
then I'm going to go to KDE Neon.
Well,
That's the rolling cutting edge.
maybe.
Um,
But I was
oh,
gonna say you normally, unless you're doing the KDE upgrade, you don't normally aren't on the cutting edge, so you should probably be okay with Mint.
well, no, I do. As a matter of fact, as we're going to find out shortly, Yakety Yak came out this past week.
Yes.
So, so I update to every version. And I think one of the things, well, for example, here's a good example, Tom, you'll appreciate this. Kden Live just came out, was it a month or two ago with a new version that fixed some bugs? And I think, have you tried it yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and,
Oh, yeah.
and you like it? Well,
They
it's
just released another update for it too.
see, it's not. Oh no, wait though. I think I not pinned it, but you know how you can even though your distro doesn't support the latest version,
Yeah,
you
I'm
can
using
with
the
the
PPA for it. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm using
exactly.
the PPA for it because I
I did
need-
that. I forgot I did
The
that.
latest versions are just the
Uh-huh.
constant improvements have been wonderful.
Yeah. So, but generally speaking, just with the stock distro, it tends to be behind, and that's one
Yeah.
of the things about well, and I'm not singling out Kubuntu for this because it just happens, I think, across the board. I was lagging, and of course, when it's that fear of missing out, what is that?
FOMO.
FOMO. Yeah, I was big time FOMO, and so then I put the
All right.
Big
It
time
just sounds
FOMO.
it just sounds funny to me.
Yeah. Well, I was, and so then I put that PPA in there, and it seems to be better.
I have a handful of PPs. One of them is Caden Live,
Mhm.
because I need that latest version.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to work or not, but if they start doing either a snap or some other packaged image on there, because one of the other problems is the MLT version. They're trying to use a newer version. The OS
Mhm.
may not have the newest
Yeah.
version, and that sometimes creates problems because when there was a multi-threading issue, when they had their last update, they're like, you have to go and then do a PPA for MLT to get it. But then Ubuntu updated the MLT library, had a problem, got solved. Because at first I thought the problem was the updated version of Caden Live. Like, no, we're passing a parameter that's in the new version of MLT, but new version is 6
Mhm.
months ago, and Ubuntu was like a year behind or something like that.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's where it gets aggravating. They're just kind of slow with it, and I understand they got to be careful with what they include, but yeah. But PPA solved the problem. So
Do you think any of
Right.
our listeners that they might not know what a PPA is? Isn't it a personal protection archive? No, wait, just kidding. Personal package archive.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah,
that's
it's in
just
a way
simply
that
the
the
pack.
developers can release archives. It's pretty much like an apt source
Mhm.
that
Yep.
you can add in, and there's a signature with it and stuff, a GPG key that it when you install the PPA, it installs that also, so you make sure you're actually downloading from the legit
Mhm.
developer. That being said, that they're developers that aren't blessed by Ubuntu, even though they're in the PPA system. So otherwise, it would be in the actual Ubuntu sources.
Yep.
So you still need to be careful with what you download and install, but it's a good way to do it. That if it's not in the sources, that it still uses app to download and install
Yeah.
programs.
So all right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think my takeaway from this is that I'm going to have a different distro on that workstation at home. So
All right.
maybe Linux Mint, although that LTS situation now is giving me a little pause.
All right.
All right, we'll see. Are you now? You're running Linux Mint, Tony, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm running Mint. Yeah.
Cinnamon
With
desktop,
Cinnamon. Yep.
and that's the LTS.
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
And LTS is, was updated last spring,
Mhm.
and they do updates throughout the LTS
Yeah.
cycle. So the last Mint 17 was based on the Ubuntu 14, 14.4.
14.4. Mhm.
And
So it's like every 2
throughout
years,
that, throughout that 2
Mhm.
years, they had 3 different updates throughout
Okay.
it. It updates.
And then security updates, of
things.
course,
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
out there
Exactly.
when
Yes.
needed.
Security
Okay.
and kernel updates come along as they're released, but just in general updates and Cinnamon updates and stuff are
Uh-huh.
more spread out.
Okay.
But it works pretty good.
Well, I haven't heard you whining about it.
Yeah. I like stable. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I kind of like stable and cutting edge, and I realize the two sometimes are on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Exactly.
Anyway, but we'll see what happens.
All right.
Okay.
Distro.
Guess we're moving. Well,
yeah, what
speaking of distros.
Yeah. So like you said, Ubuntu, the 16.10 was released.
Yes.
And Yakety Yak, and along with the Ubuntu is all the derivatives or
Yes.
Yeah, it
versions.
cascades from there.
Yeah, Mate.
Yeah, from there.
Yeah, Mate, Xubuntu, Kubuntu, Lubuntu, Ubuntu Kalen.
I was surprised. You know what? And looking at that list, I was surprised to see Ubuntu Studio released so quickly.
Yeah. Usually Ubuntu Studio's a couple months behind.
Yeah, and I went out to their site and spent a little time there, and they were looking for, I think, either a new project leader or somebody, some kind of team lead, and they had one response. So at least they had a response, but they kind of put a little note out there on their site that they're looking for people to get involved and help to maintain that project. So if anybody has time, anyone.
Right.
You might, and you're into music and the kinds of things that Ubuntu Studio does. I mean, that would be a good project to get involved in.
Yeah, and once you've set up some of the studio stuff for editing and the work that goes into it, you'll appreciate a distribution that comes with it all rolled in.
Oh yes, because I think a few years ago, a much earlier version, I installed it and I was very impressed. All that stuff is there.
Yeah,
and they did a nice job in packaging it all up and integrating it together and making it just basically turnkey.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
very
Yeah,
nice.
there's a lot of little setup work.
Mhm.
It's nice though, because like right now I've been editing just with Caden Live for our podcast because it
Yeah.
actually has an audio version of itself when you're in there. But if I had to use all the other tools like what Tony was using before, I mean, there's a lot of setup work that goes into.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
very nice.
Good news is we're not music mixing, so I can cut it down and be simple.
Right. All right.
Okay, so there's that one.
Mhm.
And I think I think we may have touched on it earlier. FreeBSD 11.0 was released, so that's
Yeah.
very exciting. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to get involved with that project and in the documentation end of things in some capacity as a volunteer. So looking forward to that. So Tony, I will not be taking BSD off my laptop.
Oh, all right.
Um, anyway, and I'd like it because it's a complete operating system. It's
Mhm.
not something that's pieced together
Okay.
like that Linux thing you run.
Sure.
I'm kidding, I run it too.
All right.
But anyway, so yeah, so I was kind of excited to see that. There was another one too that kind of caught my eye recently, and that was I think it was Xtix. That was, you remember I did that review about 3-4 years ago.
Yeah. Yep. X6 released.
Yeah, it was pretty
they're
good.
at 16.5.
Yes, they did. And they one thing that they've got now that came out with this was their ISOs. It's a hybrid ISO. So so you've got that flexibility as far as USB or off a DVD. Another thing too that they put in here too is that they've included the NVIDIA proprietary graphics driver. So anyone who's a purist may not like that, but
Yeah.
then they're probably running Triskel or another
Mhm.
completely open.
I heard this
version.
from the other day that somebody told me that they had problems with the NVIDIA proprietary and the open source version worked better for them. And I'm like, I don't know. I've run lots of NVIDIA cards throughout the years, and the proprietary one had always run better for me until this version that I have now. I have I
really?
moved to the Precision M4700,
Mhm.
and when I plug it into the dock, the NVIDIA drivers could not find my additional screens. Like it found one. I have 2 screens plus the laptop, so I have 3 screens at my desktop, and it would only show me 2. It would never go to the third one. Didn't even see it was there. And as soon as I removed the NVIDIA one and went with the open source, they all came up perfect. It just I docked it and blah, there it was. It was good to go.
Okay. What did you lose then by that's a great gain because that's enough to say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm going with the open source version. Did you lose anything like resolution, or did you lose anything that you could tell?
Nothing that I can tell. I'm not a gamer, so I didn't do like frame rate
Oh, yeah.
optimization or anything like
Okay.
that. The only thing that happens is in the 3 monitor mode, every once in a while I'll get aliasing or something where the mouse where the cursor will sit there when the cursor, I move it and I see the cursor over here, but it still like shows up on the other side too. You know what I mean? Like it does it every once in a while, but as soon as I move back and forth, it goes away, and
okay.
I'm not really worried about it.
So it's like repainting. It doesn't repaint it.
Right.
Or
I mean, it
whatever that's
repaints
called.
it, but it leaves the old also.
It doesn't
similar.
unpaint.
Doesn't
Yeah,
unpaint.
right.
There you go. That's it.
So yeah, other than that, it works better for me.
Yeah. So anyway, but just following up on Xtix too, the other thing that kind of caught my eye about it too is that both of their versions, you can basically run it from RAM. I mean, it's flexible enough that you can run it from RAM if you wanted to.
Nice.
So anyway, yeah. So those are the ones that kind of caught my eye that I was in a fever over.
All right.
So anyway, what about you guys? Anything catch your eye?
I see a lot of stuff in development. It looks interesting.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I was kind of surprised they don't mention it. There was I don't see it in the list here. It was October 6th was the update for pfSense. Another update release fixes 32 bugs and a few feature requests.
Yeah. There was one release this morning called Parrot Security.
I saw that. I was just gonna mention it. It's yeah.
Pen testing, forensics testing. And they do it's based on Debian's testing branch.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more cutting edge, up to the date than what Kali has. And it uses the Mate desktop instead of GNOME 3 desktop. But other than that, It looks interesting. I just haven't really had time to look into it. And
Yeah, I
do a
saw
lot
it.
with
I
it.
saw it and I thought, oh, I should review this. Oh, wait, I don't have enough time.
Right.
So, yeah, that might warrant a look at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nothing else caught my eye besides the PF Sense missing.
All right.
All right. Well, that kind of, I guess that covers our distro fever, or what we're hot on these days.
We ready for some news?
News.
I think Tom's ready for some news.
There's some things that happened.
All right.
Yes. Yes, there is.
Do you guys want to start? Or do you want me to start?
Tom, take it away.
Take
Go
it
ahead.
away. Well, speaking of NVIDIA drivers and good things that are happening,
Mhm.
9 of the 10 top games so far this year on Steam all run on Linux.
Mm.
That's because this
Wow.
open source driver thing and people hating on Windows 10. I think there's like so many factors pushing it to going, wow, we can have an operating system that doesn't update. Because that was that one big Twitch stream guy that was really upset because Windows decided his game went from I'm streaming the game to I'm streaming Windows circle spinning of updates because it decided in the middle of a gaming session. That's when it
Oh, I
was
remember seeing that. That was.
Oh,
I'm not going to
geez.
say it was funny because it wasn't funny to the guy, but that was funny.
It wasn't. Well, you know, it gets even worse. I was at an event, and Windows 10 decided to update on a laptop while someone was doing a slideshow at a big event that they paid to be at, and it was a conference,
Mm.
and they couldn't stop it. It decided. Now this was stupid. It was on the battery. Windows 10 will update while on battery, unlike Windows 7. That was a trick for Windows 7. You'd
Mhm.
unplug it and restart it. It wouldn't load the update, so we can get something done.
Yeah.
Windows 10 will do it on battery.
Wow.
Wow.
There's a way somehow digging deep in registry, but most common users are not going to do that. They just want to use it and do a slideshow for this big conference, and they're like, oh, look, Windows 10's updating
Yeah.
right now on the battery while I'm doing a slideshow.
Wow.
Anyways, so that's the good news about that. Of course, the Kden Live 16.1608. There are 36 commits fixing many keyframe related problems and improvements. That's the updated Kden Live. That's why I'm
Yeah.
using the PPA. And that's another update, not this one they did a few weeks ago. That happened just a few days ago.
Mhm.
Was this other one? They've been making some really good headway on bug fixes. I tell you, it's more
Mm.
stable than ever.
Tom, what are you running on your laptop?
I run Ubuntu 16.04, soon to be 16.10.
Okay.
Just straight Ubuntu.
So you got all the KDE libraries loaded.
Yes.
No, obviously, because you like Kden Live. Okay.
Yeah, because I really did try the KDE, and it was unstable with the 3 monitors. With single monitors, it seemed to work fine.
Mhm.
I would just all the little bugs, and on my laptop, it would randomly decide not to output to some monitors because I go around doing presentations. This was just, it kind
Okay.
of embarrassed me once. So,
Okay.
Mm.
Was I there in the room?
It was one. Yeah, it was the one. You remember how much trouble we had trying to get my?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Because it kept literally plugging in that the Pico
The little the projector.
the Pico
Yes.
projector. When you plug it in, it would literally lock the computer up until you unplugged it.
Jeez.
You couldn't move the mouse or anything. You unplug it and it work again. You didn't
Yeah.
have to reboot.
Hmm.
We don't know why. We had another one we plugged in. We went through a couple of them. Someone had one in their car. You know, open source talk. So of course everyone has a projector in their car, and so 2 people brought projectors out of their car, and I was able
Yeah.
to do it. But the one there we couldn't use. We don't know why.
Huh.
And I since have reloaded and went back to Ubuntu straight because it just works. You know,
Yeah.
I know it's not cutting edge. I have virtual machines for some of the cutting edge stuff.
Mhm.
So Russia's going open source, and they're really dropping. Yeah, I know.
There's a joke there, but we'll just let it go.
Well, no, are they going to go with Red Hat?
Ah,
There's the joke.
Yeah.
I don't think it's much as
one of them.
Yeah, one
Okay.
of them. I don't think it's much about the open source philosophy they're buying into, but they don't trust the U.S. They don't trust U.S. companies on there. So to
I'm
me, that's
shocked. I'm just shocked.
yes. the new Cold War is. Can we call this one the soft war? Because we're apparently the Russians are doxing us, and who knows how it's going to go back and forth.
Well, and speaking of that, you may have this as a separate news item, but did you see last couple of days the CIA apparently NBC News had this exclusive that the CIA is preparing a response to Russia as far as that hacking that they did to the DNC's
Yes.
system and all of that. So, and I'm thinking to myself, why would you announce it. But then I'm thinking, well, there's probably some psychological,
There
and they may have
is,
been doing it already. So who knows?
and they've been really talking. So there's a consultant I was listening to give a talk, and she consulted during the nuclear war, and now she's consulting, during the Cold War. Now she's consulting again because the same problem. It's an arms race again. That it's all this covert spy versus spy type stuff that you got going on. Did the Russians really hack it? Because it's not like we're having it sponsored by the nation state itself. It's not Putin going, "Yep, we doxed them. We dropped all your emails on the internet." But it's also unprecedented in any of these spy cases in the Cold War. We all knew we had dirt on each other, but we never published it. We
Yeah.
kept it secret.
Yeah.
So now
well,
it's
now
actually
look at it.
we're publishing
Greater
it to the
transparency.
great. Yes, and it's greater transparency brought to you by Fancy Bear.
Fancy-
That's
Cozy,
the-
Cozy
that's the-
Bear.
Cozy Bear. Yeah, well, the Fancy Bear is the
The other
alleged
one, yeah.
Russian hacking group that's been dumping all this. So
And Julian Assange.
and Julian Assange as well. So yeah, he was the hero when he was releasing the stuff, and now he's the villain because he's going, no, don't share our emails.
Yeah, but there has not been any huge smoking gun. I mean, there's been stuff. There's been a little embarrassing, but it's just typical.
Yeah, we covered it
Typical
before
stuff
because we
that-
realized the more embarrassing parts was just how bad their security practices in the DNC
Mhm.
when they were literally emailing passwords back and forth to each other in group messages. You're like,
Yeah.
you were just asking to get hacked. So, but that's it's interesting. I don't know how much Russia's going to open source contribute back. Will they fork projects and start their own? But they may. The reality is there's a lot of value. And do you want to hire a programming team, or do you just want to contribute back to the open source community to
Mhm.
improve the product? And I like it that Russia's actually liking the transparency of it. They don't trust the U.S. Places, especially with so many places offering big dollar bounties to sell bugs they find. So, in Microsoft, of course, got it, admitted to giving first dibs to some of the bugs to the NSA.
Mhm.
So, this is, a big attack vector.
Sure.
So it's interesting to see them move over there.
Hey, before you move on,
Yeah.
though, Tom, I'm gonna mention something, and it's not that I want to difference with this release that never really happened. I think
Yeah.
it happened later, and they were talking about how, and this was on the East Coast, how Time Warner and it was another big internet service provider, might have been Comcast. I'm not sure. Anyway, the internet had gone down in some of the big cities.
Yeah.
And I at first I kind of poo-pooed it, and then I checked. I have my markets program runs overnight, and I've got a log that just logs. It shows me connected to the server. And I
Yeah.
drop from the server, it gets logged. So I checked my server log, and I was down. This is from until about 4:30, I was down for several hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
I haven't got the details on it. That was actually due to level 3 going down.
Yeah.
So the big backbone provider shut
Okay.
down. The reason I know that is because level 3 being a backbone provider also provides a lot of VoIP. So I had several
Okay.
clients involved in this that run VoIP, and my other friends that run IT firms that do the managed service provisioning. They had huge pieces of the web go dark for them, which was a real pain because they do managed servicing for hospitals and things like that. They lost section because hospitals they know what's called Comcast. I'm assuming you don't have a Comcast connection. You have something
Right.
commercial. Well, the commercial
Yeah.
companies connect directly because they need the speed levels that
Sure.
they need.
Mhm.
And it actually caused a pretty major outages for VoIP and some major systems that run on these backbone systems like that. So
But the thing of it is, it just seems very
yeah, coincidental.
unusual and coincidental that it occurred at that same time, almost as
True.
if they didn't want, whomever, didn't want that to go out live.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm just
it
saying
is
that.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm just
So-
saying that.
Onto something more fun. Radar Cat. This is a really cool project. Look it up. Radar categorization for input and interaction. The research is called Radar Cat. Isn't just to figuring out what an object
It's
is.
not little cats with little.
Yeah, little cats with radars on. It's actually a little USB plugin. And they're running in Ubuntu. And this is a
Mhm.
cool research project. The link will be in the show notes, where you can Google. It's easy to find. There's a few articles on this. So Google came up with these tiny little, smaller than your phone, radar devices, and they were going to integrate them into phones. And I don't know, it's called the SOLI project. They're still working on it, but this is what's really cool. Picture being able to hold your hand above a phone and push your two fingers together and make a knob change for a knob that's not there. So you actually can rub your fingers together and actually
Sounds like the
control.
movies, Tom.
Yes, it's really cool. Google demoed this a few years ago, and the project's been slowly underway. The sensors are small enough to integrate into a phone. Well, it's also it's an open hardware project, and Google
Mhm.
provides a lot of documentation. So
Okay.
they built one, and they have this little pad, and they set things on it. It can identify an apple. It can identify a pear. It can identify a glass of water with or without water, and when you're filling it up.
Can identify a glass of scotch.
Yes. So by using the radar imaging, they can identify an object
Uh-huh.
and the contents of the object in detail.
Really?
It can see micro movements of things in 3D. So instead of having to be visual, and Google's concept, which I really like, and I hope we get there, is think about how you finally adjust something. You're trying to slide your finger across a phone. What if you
Like
could just
like me trying to adjust the camera.
like you adjust the camera?
Right.
You could actually just rub your fingers together, and the distance of motion across your two fingers rubbing together would actually adjust the time on there, like you're turning a little time on an old clock. They showed some cool concepts like that.
I was laughing. I was laughing at the phrase "rubbing your fingers together." I'm thinking, well, there's more than one use for that. But never mind.
So,
I
so
can't believe I said that.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Definitely a cool
Um,
project.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Because it can identify objects very,
Mhm.
very fast. And they're using machine learning. So they
Yeah.
start with putting on there, these are all apples that we set on there. And then it can start identifying all the other objects and learning new objects. And a whole project open source. And you can get a hold of these and start playing with them yourself. So I thought that was rather cool. I mentioned earlier about the routers. Linksys has unveiled a new AC3200 WRT. And they're keeping the classic blue box, but it's got more antennas on it. But
Really?
it's bigger, a lot bigger. This happens to have 512 DDR3, tri-screen technology with an 802.11 AC interface and a 1.8 gigahertz dual core processor. These are roughly a little under $300, but they're running
Yeah.
open source WRT. They're open source stack on them, so
Hmm.
you can. I think they're going to ship with DWRT on them, but you can customize them all you want. I think the companies are getting smarter. I know Asus was a pioneer in this. I'm glad to see Linksys doing this. They go, hey, let's just be a hardware manufacturer. Let's get rid of our dev team at some point where we don't try to keep writing it.
I'm sure the dev team didn't like hearing that.
Well, and the problem they have is you have people with 10, 11-year-old routers. Do I have that dev team still pushing updates for stuff that's 10 years old? Yeah, it's at some
How
point
many
they-
people update their routers?
not enough, and that's part of it
Exactly.
too. And with the DDRT and it has to have an auto update, you could build a better,
Mhm.
more secure device, and without having to worry about paying a dev team because there's constant updates. If you follow a common platform, they just compile it for each individual one. And the fact that they're open sourcing it, making it easy, so you're not
Mhm.
hacking it to put it on there, you're just putting it on there.
Yeah.
So it's not a cheap device, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
So this is funny. Yahoo, I didn't know they did this on Tumblr. Yahoo has a Tumblr blog. That's where their engineering team releases their stuff. And they just open sourced more tools. And one of them was the Yahoo Porn Learning Machine. That's what it's called.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that article.
Sounds funny.
And I was go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I know. It did make me laugh, but I figured I'd bring it up because it is interesting because it's all their algorithms and the machine learning system that's been used to do this and interpret things. They're hoping will lead to more breakthroughs
And more porn filtering.
more porn filtering, or maybe organizing all the collections of photos you have. I don't know. There's
Mhm.
so many different uses. But it's still kind of interesting that they've got more and more of this out there, and that they're open sourcing it. So something good coming out of Yahoo. Because I'm going to save to the end all the bad coming out of Yahoo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Google open source cartography. Google open source a whole piece of their cartography system, and it's for internal mapping of inside of buildings. This is really cool because
So they had a little Google car that's gonna drive, or a little cart that drives through the building, or what?
yes, exactly. So it's going to be for things like
little
automated
robotic?
automated
Okay.
high-lows, automated things. Apparently, I didn't know this. The newest versions of the Roombas, I don't have one. The Roombas will actually, they don't just bump around aimlessly.
They don't just vacuum.
They
They,
don't just
also map
vacuum.
your house.
They actually do. They make a whole layout. So once they've done it once, they memorize all your rooms and do that. And that's what they're going to
And
be
then
doing.
that gets uploaded.
Yes. Then it gets
See,
uploaded.
I tell you, I kind of draw the line. Like I'm never going to have a smart TV in my house. I may have a dongle in there that makes it smart, but I'm able to disconnect
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. There,
And
there are certain things I don't
I'm
have
not
in my
going to
house
map
either.
my house. There's just certain things I refuse to do.
I've mapped it with my shins and toes. They know where everything is now.
Oh, anyway.
PX4.io, independent open source open hardware project aimed at providing the standard high-end autopilot for the industrial academic enthusiast. drone pilots. So since I'm getting a drone, I played with lots of drone stuff. This is pretty neat. Now, the drone I have has a ton of automation in there, and
Hey, I got a micro drone. It was
they're pretty
very
fun.
difficult. It was kind of hard for me to steer it, only
Yeah.
because it's so small and it reacts so easily. I was constantly crashing it into things in my living room.
Yeah. I'll admit once you go to because I have one too, and it was fun. And I did a review on it, and the first thing I do is hit myself in the face.
Yeah.
And but the drone I have now,
The
because they're
bigger ones are a little easier to maneuver.
super easy, and they
Okay.
actually have a bunch of autopilot features.
Oh,
One of the cool things are they also have an API to make them more extensible, like the DJI Phantom 4 does. So
mhm.
it won't just work with the DJI app on a phone; it'll work with other ones. You can already set GPS waypoints, so I can actually just tell it to go do something based on GPS, take a picture of it, and come back. It goes a step further. Now you can do mapping with them, and what a lot of industrial sites are starting to do, and one of my clients, we're actually doing this for him. Because he's been rebuilding his facility, the one we're putting the site to site, he was using Google Maps originally. Well, he's now tore down 3 buildings that were there and built new ones. So now what we're doing is we're also going to fly the drone. It's got a straight down camera, and there's a stitching app, and they charge like $20 for the stitching session. But you plot in the GPS the whole property with the app, and then it uploads all the images and creates one large stitched image of it.
Nice.
And because the drone's not flying super high, it's super high because my drone shoots over 4K. So it stitches together all these 4K photos to make this one giant zoomable, high, absolutely up-to-date map of his whole facility. So it's
Wow.
they're really cool, and that's what some of these
Mhm.
automated tools are for reconnaissance, information, pattern flying, and then you can input pattern recognition, go look for this, and you can just tell the drone, go around, look for it, and program it in there. And that's what some of these open source tools are for, is to bring that level of automation. Think about search and rescue.
Oh, yeah.
Drones look
Actually, well, it was used in some of the recent tragedies. I think the flooding in North Carolina, as well as I know the earthquake, some of the earthquakes that have occurred.
Right.
So
Yeah, I was just about to mention that there's a
Mhm.
college student that was studying doing that with drones.
Yeah. What's amazing, my DJI Phantom 4 is not a fast drone because it's made for cinematography. It does 45 mile an hour. The guys were showing me when I was at the drone shop before I bought it, they have a drone that does 72 mile an hour that they fly in
Wow.
first person. So, and these are that's a $500 drone that does that fast. As you
Wow.
scale up, these things can go crazy fast. And because their optical imaging has gotten so much better, they can actually cover areas and fly in patterns. And then, humans can't process the images that fast. But if you could say, look for this and zip across an area, you could suddenly have the entire layout of an area, not from satellite, but from 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And if you're a peeping
Nice.
Tom, how can be? Oh, wait, Tom.
Yeah. Did you see Mike Rowe? Did we talk about that last week? Mike Rowe and the drone? Someone
No.
droned over to his house, and apparently he sleeps in his as he put it, my favorite pair of invisible pajamas.
Oh,
He
okay.
got up and jumped up completely nude and realized there's a drone staring at him. And he's like, all right. He posted it first. He goes, somewhere out there's a picture of me standing naked, holding a gun, pointing at a drone. He goes, whoever releases it, you're in trouble. So yeah, you're right. That's definitely a
I think
concern.
it is. It is. That's why I put my patio umbrella up so no drones can find me.
Yes.
All right.
Cloudflare has a really cool blog post about the massive DDoS attack from cameras. I like it because it said smile, say cheese, and we get attacked.
Oh.
It's the Internet of Things becoming a bot army of things. And what these are is all these crazy unsecured.
Are they running Linux?
That's actually the problem. Yes, that's part of the reason I'm bringing it up too. What these
Yeah.
unfortunate manufacturers that make the SoC system on chip.
Idiots.
Idiots on a chip. We talked about this in our January show, so I remember bringing it up in the show notes, that the manufacturers, instead of regenerating like SSH keys each time, they generate the image and flash the same image with the same keys across 10,000
The
devices.
whole product
Right.
line.
The whole product line. So they're not individually generating anything. Therefore, once you crack one, and it's not, I'm not even talking
Instant
about
botnet.
instant
Yeah.
botnet, because you're not just cracking the one for the lights or the one for the camera. They use the same SoC chip on refrigerators, toasters. So once you figured out the manufacturer and they were lazy and not going to generate SSH keys for every one and rekey them, you have the backdoor for all the different devices that chose that as the base for the network interface. So it creates a huge attack vector, and that's what they're seeing right now. And it's hard to get these people to take them down, hard to figure out where they are. Not to mention there's no patches or updates, so it's not
Yep.
even, you can't even get them to update because it's not available. And then
Exactly.
you have to tell someone, hey, that fancy camera you got, that Chinese one, you should turn it off. That's like the only fix for it. Off. It's got hard-coded keys and a back door in it. And then we've even seen this. Some of these insecure ones, they're spending like $3,000 or $4,000 on these camera systems. Small businesses are, and what do? They're going, I don't want to turn it off. I kind of like the cameras. I don't care that
Right.
it spends the other part of the day attacking you. It does provide me camera service.
Well, then their internet service provider needs to step in.
That's what we're really talking about. Can we block it there? I don't know. The other article I have, of course, is Yahoo's as if they couldn't get worse by apparently having the knowledge 2 years ago that it was done. It came up that they did know that they had their passwords cracked, leaks, and everything else, so they couldn't claim ineptitude. And as predicted, Verizon asked for $1 billion write-down on the purchase.
Jeez.
I'm sure they're going to get it if they even buy them anymore because their brand value's destroyed. Oh, and if you didn't hear, Yahoo has disabled email forwarding. If you try to forward your Yahoo email, it'll let you know that the service is under development, even though it's been available for years. They removed it, so people they're afraid they're going to lose everybody. So you can't forward your email to another email address and start using it. So people are setting up auto replies and auto responders and everything else. But now they are secretly scanned customer emails for U.S. intelligence, and they made an end run about their own security team. Now, if I remember the phrase right, they referred to the security team not as the security team, as quote unquote the paranoids, and they didn't. That's why they bypassed them when the government did it. So they
Oh
basically
my
rootkitted their own systems and started funneling data back. They were scanning for any type of documents related to government security, classified documents. I don't know exactly what the algorithm the government had installed, but they completely bypassed their security team and let them into the data centers to install this to scan not just incoming emails, but existing emails as well.
Jeez.
Hmm.
So, yeah, thanks, Yahoo. I think you completely have destroyed your brand.
Boy, email servers have really been in the news, haven't they?
Oh, it is. It's
Uh.
such a mess. And there was a cool little article on the Next Web for how startups are using open source software to compete against the big guys, which I am seeing a lot of that.
When you say house startups, what is
How
it?
startups, like entrepreneurs, people,
House?
how? Oh, how?
Okay. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I
yeah.
thought you said house.
No, entrepreneurs and
I gotcha.
people launching companies here.
Gotcha.
They're using a lot of open source technology.
Mhm.
And some of the examples would be this. There's a company that started a drone inspection company out in Ann Arbor. They use drones to inspect, what do you call those? Windmills,
Oh.
Turbines.
wind turbines,
Mhm.
because they're expensive to get up there, but it's easy for a drone to fly out there. So
I think it'd be fun to drive it right through. Let's see. Okay, there
can
goes.
I make it between those blades?
Boom. That would be a fun game.
Yeah, but when you look at some of that, they might use some like this PX4IO software in order to go map. Like you got 20 of them in a row, go fly this close to each one, and do regular patterned flights of them because they need to look to see if there's any cracks. They actually, when they do the inspection, it's kind of neat. They, as I met the guy at one of the meetings in Detroit, but I guess they stop the turbine from spinning. And then they watch each part of the blade. They're looking for cracks because the blades are giant fiberglass ones.
But we're going to go back to coal, so they're going to dismantle all those, I think.
Yeah. So definitely some cool applications for it, but it's a lot of small startups are jumping in there. My friend's company started.
Cool.
It's kind of neat. One of their things is they do a bunch of open source WordPress plugins as a. When you find it is a cool marketing angle, I guess you could say. They develop WordPress plugins, and by doing that, when you say, "Man, this is really cool," can you customize that? Their way they make money is people contact their company to write something more extensive because they see the cool things they did right, and they're like, "Oh yeah, your team can. I like this, but could you add these features?" And I'm like, "Yeah, for this much."
See, Tom, just listening to you describe that scenario reminded me of an article about the future of work because one of the big things that is a topic of conversation these days is AI, robotics, and really what are going to happen to jobs. And there are going to be winners and losers in that tech revolution, which is already kind of underway. But the people that are going to really survive are the ones that are going to be able to adapt. And they may need a skill set for only a few months because there's a certain project that has to be done doesn't lend itself to that AI approach. And so being able to adapt, be flexible, those are the folks that are going to fare well.
Well-
And that's why when you describe that that little scenario, it kind of made me think of it.
Yeah, humans are going to be replaced in anything repetitious.
Mhm.
That's the industrial revolution was eliminating repetition.
Mhm.
The next AI revolution is anytime there's a common input of variables
Mhm.
and an expected output based on that input, you can start to look at AI as a
Mhm.
solution for that.
Sure.
So, and because they've talked about replacing some doctors and things like that, it's certain aspects of it, enhancing it with AI, because here's all the symptoms. And okay, those symptoms statistically have led to this being the cause. And that's what doctors do. It's a differential engine, differential diagnosis.
Mhm.
That's something computers have gotten really good at. And it's hard to teach them and program that algorithmically, but with machine learning, we can just based on statistics. It's like they didn't have to look at the mathematics behind what makes an apple show up in a radar. They didn't have to look at that underlying at all.
Yeah.
They said, set it on the radar. This is what an apple looks like. Then he said 100 different apples on there, and it goes, and it lets the computer figure out the common input information that
Mm.
equals an apple. That's how they trained it. So now instead of a human writing code, you just had a person setting apples on a little pad for a little while. It's a different
See those
concept.
temporary skills.
Yes. And that type of AI is,
Yeah.
it's how they're training it. It's the same thing
Mhm.
like the Yahoo porn filter. Someone sat through and dumped all kinds of information and said, this is, and this isn't, this is, and this isn't. And they use machine learning to come
Yeah.
up with a database of what is and what isn't.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's a different concept. And those type are the next
Must
level.
have analyzed
jobs.
curves, I bet.
Yes.
Oh,
So that's what
good.
I had for the news.
All right.
Wow. And you covered all my topics.
Oh, did I?
Well, that's the
we
story.
can
That's
rip
my
on
story, and
Yahoo.
I'm sticking to it.
We can
Right.
rip on Yahoo all day.
Well, no, the only thing I was going to add, just as far as companies buying other companies, and I did read the article about Verizon's lawyers just saying that this whole issue, that whole hack issue and everything, has a material impact, and they're going to be there's going to be a different offer price if they do indeed
Yes,
decide to
they-
go through with
Yep,
it.
they've offered $1 billion
Mhm.
less. That's the updated Verizon
Yep.
offer. This also has put Marissa Myers in a very bad light when they found out she knew about it. She knew about a lot of these things. That were
She
going
knew
on.
about it?
Yeah, that's where things are really hitting the
Mm.
fan. Because she was the wonder CEO, gonna save Yahoo. And
Yeah.
now they're like, wow.
Instead, she goes out and has a baby.
Yeah.
Instead.
That was a joke.
But she
All right.
yeah, that's one of the things that they think 2 years ago Yahoo,
I
because
love babies, by the way. Just for the
we're not
record.
hating on the babies,
For the
just
record.
the password problem.
That's right. No, I was reaching for a joke in bad taste. So I
Alright.
apologize.
Yeah, but it's one of those things like a lot of people believe Yahoo. One of the goals that they thought she had was to try and sell Yahoo when she took over. What was it 2012? She took over. She's been
Yeah,
ahead
2
of
or
it for a
3 years
while.
ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they thought one of the goals was to sell Yahoo.
Didn't she come from Google?
Yeah. Oh yeah, she was a big wig over at Google. I forget which division she ran, but she was quite up there at Google.
So I
right.
just wonder if Yahoo's problems are so intrinsic to the company that of course, this whole hacking knowledge aside, that it was just going to be too difficult
Well,
to even.
Yeah, it's one of those things like if you would have switched
Mhm.
captains of the Titanic after they hit the iceberg, would it have made a difference?
Great way to put it,
Right.
Tom. Great
Yeah.
way to put it. Yep.
Exactly. So, she stepped into it and
Mhm.
she's like, this seems like this cool Yahoo company. We're going to turn around. Oh my gosh. Like
Oh my
what,
God.
this
When
is
the
my
books got
debriefing.
opened, yeah.
These are all the things we haven't told people yet that's going on.
God.
Welcome to your new CEO position.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just, there's some lessons to be learned there. And, not to get too far off topic, but the whole Wells Fargo, I mean, that CEO, he's
Oh,
retiring
yep.
after all those underlings created those bad account or those fake
Yeah.
accounts or what have you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The other thing too, just talking about companies, so getting even further off topic, Twitter, Twitter had a bunch of suitors, including I think Salesforce. There
Yep.
was some rumor that Google, and of course the stock, because I like to follow stocks and things. That stock took off and had gone from from when I started watching it, which was in the 12s and 13s, up to over 20, and now of course my take on the whole thing, because now people are saying, well, no, these companies are no longer interested. I think they're no longer interested at the price it was at. And
Yeah.
so once it gets back down to a more reasonable price for them, somebody's going to snatch it up. So,
Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to be snatched up by some.
I will be buying. I will be
investment
selling some
company.
options on it.
Well, the only way to make Twitter profitable is they have a ton of
Mhm.
sales teams and things like that. The only way to make Twitter profitable is undoubtedly going to be cut those
Mm-hmm.
people. So you're going to find some no-name, generic, we're just investors who are going to buy it. They're going to turn it around and be profitable, which means
Mhm.
cutting jobs.
Yeah.
Because no one wants that black eye. If Google bought them and got rid of a bunch of people just to make it profitable, oh, Google got rid of all these jobs at Twitter. It's a headline. When blah, 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 Investments Inc. buys it, no one cares. Everyone's like, oh yeah, they're a hatchet company. They ain't
Well,
a
they're-
company they buy. They
yeah.
fire half the
Yeah.
employees, they make the company profitable, and they resell it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how Fiat didn't want to cut the jobs of Chrysler when they bought them. They let another company, Cerberus Capital, took it over,
There
cut
you
the
go.
jobs, cut
Yeah.
the fat,
Yep.
and sold it to Fiat.
Yep. There you go.
Now Fiat looks like a hero.
Sure. Yeah. You're rescuing it from that evil Cerberus.
Yes.
But you think about Twitter. I mean, they ended up getting the rights to broadcast Thursday Night Football on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I'm thinking, how they gonna do that in 144 characters? Well, of course,
Right.
just kidding.
Yeah.
Now it's video, but
Sport
anyway.
ball.
Sport ball.
What do you got for the news, Tony?
Yeah, Tony. Or
I
do
found a few articles. Not quite new stuff, but I found a
Old?
Raspberry Pi project
yeah.
that you take a vintage Raspberry or a vintage camera and you build it into a Raspberry Pi camera. So it's pretty cool. You take the lens
When you
off.
say vintage camera, what kind of camera is that? Is that a
So one's from the 60s.
okay? That kind of vintage.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
Yeah,
you.
60s, maybe 70s. And and you take it apart. You take all the guts out. And
Okay.
you take anything that's part of it. And the mechanical
So
so all you have is the shell left, pretty much. And you take the lens
Okay.
off. And then you use the Raspberry Pi camera and a Raspberry Pi. You stick it in there and then a little battery.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
And then,
Okay.
Yeah, and then you have to take the mechanical switch and put an electronic switch on there.
Okay.
And hook that up to the GPIO ports. So when you hit the picture, it takes a picture. And you
I'm
can use the
amazed.
same view, right? You can use the same viewfinder that it has on there, so you can look and you take a picture of it.
So
and then you build
so-
it in, and in this project, they built
Uh-huh.
it in so it would automatically tweet the picture that he took.
Oh, neat.
That's
That's a really cool project.
Or you
That
could,
is
you could have it
interesting.
SCP it off to a file server or something. And
So
but,
to people looking at you, it looks like you're using a 30-year-old camera,
yeah,
sorta. But you are tweeting as you take pictures. Okay.
exactly.
Well, pretty
Yeah,
cool.
so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. That's a great little project. What's the name of the project?
It's called Vintage Raspberry Pi Camera. Just as it made sense.
Well, they
All
weren't
right.
clever with the naming.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a Google Plus post, and it's from Spark Fun. They do other Raspberry Pi.
Oh,
projects and
okay. It
stuff.
must be something you
So
subscribe to that I don't, because I don't think I subscribe to Raspberry Pi stuff.
the
look for it.
Raspberry Pi project on Google
On
Plus.
Google Plus. Okay.
Had posted it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I was unaware of it.
Yeah. And then what you can do, you take that camera, and you
Yeah.
can take pictures.
More
of-
pictures.
take pictures of
I'm
my next article is take pictures of these things. It's DIY spooky bottle labels. I think you'd really get into this, Mary,
Ooh.
where you can make spooky bottle labels
Mm-hmm.
using Inkscape,
Okay.
and then you use coffee grounds,
Yeah.
and you kind of grind it in to make it look like the old
Okay.
thing.
Give it that old
So-
look. Age it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So they go through here and say the steps to go through using Inkscape and
Oh, neat.
I actually
creating
prefer orange
borders and
pico tea
stuff
when I
and-
age things. I do that. I mean, I,
Oh,
I make
yeah?
props for a living. Yeah, I'm going to be putting together a severed hand. I mean, not a severed hand, a mummified hand.
so and,
Yeah,
and then they give some
exactly.
examples, and it looks pretty cool.
I'll bring it in. It's going to have fingernail. It's going to be in a glass box.
Oh,
it's going to
cool.
be I'll bring it in.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got a Halloween episode.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Mary's props. I
yeah.
created, actually, we are getting off topic, but just quickly, I went and purchased, I think about 12.5 of these laboratory reagent bottles, the ones with the
Mm.
little glass stopper.
Yeah.
And then I got these little skull, or not skull, but skeleton hands. And what I did is I ended up putting them in the oven for a bit just to soften them up so I could form them into what I needed them to be.
Mhm.
And then using various techniques and material, I ended up putting a little bit of fur on it, and I am making it look mummified, a monkey's
Oh.
paw.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, and then I put this old aged label on the bottle, and I sold. I've sold them for $40.
Nice.
So people bought them.
All right.
So
I have a couple more Raspberry Project ideas that I want to play with because there's so many neat things you can do with them.
you put one on
Yeah.
your drone.
I thought about that too.
All
Cool,
right.
Tom.
Well, that was the two that I found. And
Excellent.
I know we're getting kind of short on time now.
Yeah.
So probably should keep moving.
All right.
And I guess we're coming to the end of the show.
Yep. Song.
And we have
Suddenly we're
the
there.
Song.
Do you have our song pulled up?
I
Yeah,
have it
did you-
pulled up, but I can't
did you
play
f-
it from here because I'm
did you-
running the Hangout.
Are you using the song I came up with, or did you come up with your own?
Yeah, no, we can just go ahead and follow yours, Mary.
Okay, it's a good one though. You'll like it. Everyone will like
My
it.
phone's going
And I can
crazy.
fill this time with mindless chatter while you look for it.
All
Do
right.
you want me to play it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I
All
have
right.
speakers on this. So
Okay.
Or do you want to plug into the soundboard?
we don't need to get that advanced because we'll edit it in
Okay.
Yeah,
and we'll post
that
the
sounds
link.
good.
Well, it's called Half and Half Remix 4
Yep.
by the Gypsy Box Productions.
Gypsy I like the name.
I know that's what kind of caught my eye.
Gypsy music. It's
Yeah.
opening. Go Jamingo, go.
It's down near the Balkans. All right. Is that it?
Yeah. I hope so.
It's not?
It's the link you said.
Yeah, that's it. Isn't it good?
Yeah.
Definitely toe tapping.
Right. Kind of has a bluegrass feel
Yeah.
to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm not really a bluegrass fan.
Yeah.
Yankee Doodle Andy.
It does. Yeah. All right.
All right.
All right, stop it.
Sure. Yeah, that's pretty good. Thank you,
That is
Mary.
good. Yeah. I found it and I thought, oh, the guys are going to love this song.
Yeah.
So I pulled the other one I had off.
Very cool.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you, Mary.
Hey, you're welcome.
All right. So you've been listening to the Sunday Morning Links Review. This was episode 112. Or
Actually, I
212.
know it is 210.
212.
212.
Oh, 212. 212. Actually, that's New York City's area code. But this episode name was OLF Follow Up Afterglow.
Yes.
All right. This is Tone Bemis.
Mary Tomich.
And Tom Lawrence.
See you next time.
All right.
Now that we know that it's not 112.
Right. Goodbye,
Oh,
YouTube
yeah. Bye.
listeners.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.